Michael Chertoff, and it eventually earned him a rare dressing down from President Bush. Joining me now from Austin, Texas, is Wayne Slater of the Dallas Morning News, co-author of Bush's Brain. Wayne, good to see you.
Great to see you.
Why would Donald Rumsfeld not want to help the people of New Orleans in this situation, given that he had his finger on the military relief?
Well, that was the point. He had his finger on the military relief and wanted to keep it. This was a turf battle. It's interesting that Rumsfeld, I think nobody doubts, reflected an attitude of certitude, maybe, arrogance. This caused problems overseas, and now we find out that sort of attitude about things caused problems here at home. I don't think he wasn't thinking in terms of hurting people. I'm sure of that. What he was thinking about was protecting his own turf and interpreting everything as a challenge.
You know what's interesting, and by the way, you and I might be tossing it over to the president any minute now, and when we do that, hold on, because then I'll bring you back and we'll do some analysis of the president. But in this GQ story that everyone seems to be talking about, and we've followed up on for the second day now, it portrays President Bush as getting fed up with Rumsfeld at one point, quoting him as saying, "Rumsfeld, what the hell is going on here in New Orleans?" I mean, that's a direct quote from the president. What are you doing? Is this part of, you know, and at one point he says, "Don, do it." This is quoting President Bush, a President Bush we haven't heard of before. One wonders what's going on here. Is this part of the legacy building for the president?
That's exactly what this is, Rick. This is legacy building time. The administration's out. Folks on different parts of the administration are pointing fingers, trying to make somebody else look bad so that they look good. You know, it's
But it doesn't make him look good. It makes him look like a guy who was being controlled by a bunch of bullies.
But that's exactly it. If Lincoln had a sort of team of rivals, it now appears that Bush was presiding over a reign of bullies, with Cheney and Rumsfeld and Karl Rove pushing a partisan agenda. And so by comparison, you're right, Bush seems a bit weak, but by comparison, he certainly looks better than these guys, and I think that's part of the legacy building effort by the leakers for this piece. I don't doubt it. Who want to make him look good?
You wrote the book on these guys. I mean, who's back there pulling the strings? Who's in the back room saying, you know what, here's the way we want the legacy to go? It didn't go all well for this guy, for our president. However, wasn't all his fault. It was a bunch of guys around him who were pulling his strings.
Well, I think with respect to this piece and other things that have been written, the #1 person is Karl Rove. He's the big legacy builder. But there are others. There are others in the administration who weren't very happy about Don Rumsfeld, others who aren't that excited about Dick Cheney, folks who really believe that George Bush was not well treated, was not well served by some of the people around him. And although he left office with one of the lowest approval ratings of any president, by comparison, this legacy building process might lift him a bit, so that people will think, well, he's not as bad as those other guys.
He's not so bad. He was a good guy after all. You know what's interesting about this? I'm going to tie these two stories now. One, you and I had a conversation about this, and the folks at home probably remember the story about Abu Ghraib and why it is that Lindsey England and some of these other people went to prisons while, you know, the vice president and the secretary of defense did not. And now we hear that they may have been responsible. Well, same situation here. There were so many people who were criticized after Katrina. The mayor, the city council, the governor, the president. Now, again, we start hearing, look who really was, in many ways, at fault. There's starting to be a pattern here, isn't there?
Absolutely a pattern. You saw it in Abu Ghraib. After Katrina, we saw congressional investigations, a Senate high-level inquiry, which really at the end didn't do much except to say Brownie, Michael Brown, and as you said, the mayor and the governor of Louisiana were contributed to the problem. But you never saw this stuff about Rumsfeld. You never really saw the people at the top. It was people lower down who took the fall. Exactly what happened in Abu Ghraib, where there was an investigation. And that's not to say that the people who got caught up in it were guiltless. But it is to say that it's amazing how the people at the top always seem to escape responsibility and blame.
And not just the people at the top, but the same
people.
Yeah, it does make you wonder. Wayne Slater, thanks for being. Hey, hang out in case I got to bring you back if the president makes some news on this thing. We think might be going to him just a little bit. Thanks, Wayne. We appreciate it.